Nowadays, it has become a hip thing to live more sustainably. You know, stuff like going zero waste, grow your own veggies, DIY soaps, which is great. But when sustainability becomes a premium label, it has the power to influence how people buy things. And sneaky businesses are now using marketing tactics to package themselves to appear more sustainable, hoping to be more desirable, much like these makeup transformations. I don't even know what's real anymore. And this is precisely why consumers are so confused over palm oil, a topic that resurfaced with a vengeance last week, thanks to an apparently anti-palm oil school play that was caught on video. In short, it riled up our primary industries minister, Teresa Koch, and sparked a probe by Education Ministry, resulting in the school having to apologize to Koch in person. Whether the government is interfering in the children's freedom of expression, which Teresa Koch maintains it's not, that's a debate for another day. But it does highlight how protective Putrajaya is of the palm oil industry. Because it is, after all, our third largest export and capable of generating over 68 billion ringgit in exports earnings. And the government is on the defense for a very good reason. Because the EU has voted to restrict the use of palm oil in biofuel by 2021 and to completely phase it out by 2030. Now, it claims that the oil palm industry is causing massive deforestation and loss of habitat of wildlife, specifically the orangutan. Now, Malaysia is the second largest palm oil producer after Indonesia, and the EU is Malaysia's second largest customer for palm oil. At the mercy of this ban is the livelihood of 650,000 oil palm smallholders in Malaysia. Hence why the government is up in arms and even threatening a retaliation. Now, I'm all for saving orangutans, but is the anti-palm oil campaign as altruistic as it seems? Back in the 1980s, Malaysian palm oil industry fought the American Soybean Association over a smear campaign, which accused palm oil of causing side effects. But ASA ended up with eggs on their faces after Malaysia debunked those allegations through research and scientifically proved that palm oil is a more versatile and more superior edible oil. So, what was the reason for such a passionate and sustained smear campaign? Palm oil and soybean oil are competitors, which is why for decades, the Western world has been using deforestation as a weapon to bring down the palm oil industry. For instance, you might have seen this Greenpeace video.
There's a human in my forest and I don't know what to do. He took away my mother and I'm scared he'll take me too. There are humans in my forest and I don't know what to do. They're burning it for palm oil. So I thought I'd stay with you.
By the way, Greenpeace has been called out for miscalculation, misrepresentation, and unscientific spin. Meanwhile, you have green groups claiming that the equivalent of 6 football fields of Indonesian and Malaysian rainforests is logged every minute to make way for one vegetable oil that is used in hundreds of everyday products. Considering Malaysia produces some 20 million tons of palm oil a year, that sounds like we should be covered in cleared land. Yet, according to the World Bank's findings, Malaysia, despite being the world's second largest palm oil exporter, we still have 67.6% of our forests compared to France's 31% and Germany's 32.7%, Italy's 31.6%, and the UK's 13%. Also, our country has established the Malaysian Sustainable Palm Oil Certification in 2015. And Putrajaya has made it mandatory for all oil palm planters and smallholders in Malaysia to obtain the certification by the end of 2019. Plus, we have capped the expansion of oil palm plantations at 6.5 million hectares, focusing on utilizing higher yielding planting materials and increasing productivity without the need to expand into new forests or peatlands. In short, Malaysia is making efforts to push for sustainability and for companies to plant on already deforested land. Of course, you will have critics who say we haven't gone far enough. But even if the world were to boycott palm oil, what would be its alternative? Rapeseed oil and soybean oil, all of which, by the way, are widely planted in the US and Europe. But such a move wouldn't make any sense. It's proven that palm oil crops yield 4 to 10 times more oil per unit of land and require far less pesticide and fertilizer. That means if the world bans palm oil, it will need to clear out even more forest to plant rapeseed or soybean. And you want to talk about land use? You know what else takes up a lot of land and produces a ton of carbon dioxide? The livestock industry. It uses over 70% of the world's agricultural land, and oil palm only uses 0.32%. So, why don't we see anyone waging wars against beef burgers, at least on a more massive scale then? To add insult to injury, do you know what the bulk of soybean is actually used for? It is to actually feed those cows, not even for humans to eat. Just to be clear, I'm not saying stripping land bare to plant oil palm is a good thing. But since the damage has been done, not just by Malaysians, but by other commodity-producing countries as well, shouldn't we be thinking about fixing the industry from the roots, rather than investing so much energy in all the wrong places, like considering tit-for-tat trade embargoes and investigating schools for spreading anti-palm oil propaganda? Because to be fair, we can do more. According to the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil, less than 20% of the world's palm oil is currently certified as sustainable. We need to redouble efforts to move towards sustainable palm oil, perhaps more cross-industry collaboration. Otherwise, more environmental damage will be created, more consumers are just going to shy away from products with palm oil, and developed nations will have more reasons to campaign against it. And no amount of knee-jerk reactions is going to fix that. Just saying.